Hello there, and as usual, I'm Aaron from UncleSte Gamers, and welcome. So today I want to show you something I call the Deep Space Probe. The concept of sending a ship out to explore for you, so while you're constructing, while you're building, while you're building your base, you can actually be exploring the galaxy around you. Now this is a very basic form, more of a communications and sort of viewing satellite, you could even call it, that you could send out and explore one of these asteroids that's out there, and it could have some quite interesting information to send back to you. Now I ran into a few problems at the start of this. First off, we'll have a look at them. Now as you can see, we've got both a large antenna from a large ship and a small antenna from the small ship, and we'll talk about why that's a little bit of an issue at the moment. Now the antennas on the small ship, so we can see here, actually have a maximum range of only 5,000, and that's not really that good. That won't get us even to probably one of these asteroids that's close by. Now the larger antennas, if we go back on here, have a range of over 50,000, so that is perfect. That's going to get us into range, and we'll actually be able to do some serious work on reconning and working out these different satellites. And the only problem that I came up with was it just ended up being too big, too cumbersome. It's something that I've built something now that you don't want to lose because you've spent so much time building this probe. You just don't want to send it out there to just be lost or left out there, so you need to come up with something a little bit smaller, and that's why I started working on these more compact designs where all I took was the antenna itself, the systems that it needed for basic survival, and then I realized the problem, the batteries would start running out after some time, so I need some way of charging it. I can't really put infinite sort of uranium in a survival sense because I need that myself, and I tried to get even smaller, just putting one battery on, and then planned on putting solar panels. So let's actually take a look at the probe. Now this is the probe in its latest sort of design. The one I showed you up here is a sort of prototype model where I was experimenting around with different sort of beacons, and I found out that the beacons weren't really necessary as long as you have an antenna. So as you can see, what we've actually got here is two large thrusters on the front to provide it with enough stopping force for it to actually stop in time if it's going to hit an asteroid, or to stop within the boundary, because I did a basic calculation, and at 104 meters a second, that's the maximum speed of a small ship, you could travel for 8 minutes and you'd be just under that 50,000 meters, and then you'd basically just activate the system and it would stop there right at that 50,000 meter limit of the antenna's range. And then to actually get further than that, you'd have to send out further and further versions of this. So I'll just show you one of the basic features. It's got a basic like safety backup. If it comes too close to a station or asteroid, it activates its thrusters and it comes to a solid stop, and once it's stopped, it activates its antenna and basically starts to function as a basic satellite. Now when it stops, it will alert the user by turning the antenna on, so the antenna is going to pop up on the HUD, but as it's traveling, the antenna will be on, but it'll only start to flash once it's actually arrived at a target location. So here it's been interrupted, so you can actually see from a distance, say we're working away on our station, that the distance of the antenna is not moving away, so we can actually log into that antenna now, look through the camera and realize why it's stopped. So is it stopped because there's a station in the way? So I've just launched a number of probes off into this direction, and they're set on a 30-second timer at the moment, just to demonstrate this for you early. So as you can see, as they start to deploy, the solar panels fold out, like on this one there, slowing down. That one's also folded out as well, and they're starting to rotate towards the direction of the sun. So this is one that's going to fold out shortly as well, and then it'll start to turn into the direction of the sun by looping up and pushing its gyroscopes into position. So the gyroscopes require a little bit of tweaking to get them to perform like this, and they perform a little bit differently at different speeds. But as you can see, it's going to start to come to a stop in this position, and there we go, facing up towards the sun, and that means that the solar panels are actually going to be on maximum performance, keeping this unit alive for as long as possible. So now that the probe has moved into its static phase and the solar panels have been deployed, the engines have shut off to conserve power, and the solar panels have been pumped up to the whole 4 bars, and that in turn means that the battery within the center of the hull can start to charge, and we can have this little station, this communications outpost and probe for reconning what's actually going on the 50,000 meters away from the base in a perfect working order. So we can see we've got a mining hauler actually being picked up by this sensor that wouldn't have been picked up by our base due to it being further and further away. So that'll relay the mining hauler back to this station. We could even have a look at it through the actual systems inside, so we go and access the remote control block from far away. So remote control, where are you? There we go. can control this block, and then secondly, we can grab ourselves the camera. So now we're actually inside the ship. You're probably wondering how, if we tilt this away from the sun, how we're actually getting power. Well, remember that battery inside's actually got the power, and we can actually see there's a mining hauler approaching our area of the galaxy. Now, it seems that I've launched this probe into a really good area because we seem to be picking up 2 vessels at the same time. We're picking up a mining hauler that's passing this way, and we're also picking up a military escort. So we can actually deploy fighters from our base all the way back up at one of them asteroids far away. I think it's that donut looking one far away with a little bit of gold on. Once we deploy them, we can intercept the military escort or maybe even pirate the mineage hauler. I just wanted to show you something really simple like this today, just to give you an idea of how to explore the galaxy without actually spending all the time as an individual, actually going out there looking between each asteroid. Instead, you can just send this out, and if there's nothing there, you can send it to another asteroid, send it again and again. As long as it's in that 50,000 limit, it's fine. And once you want to explore more than that, then you just leave that there and use it as an extension for the antenna. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.